Cosmetic surgery, beyond simple physical correction, sometimes represents a profound quest for identity. This dossier explores 10 remarkable journeys where bodily transformation, somewhere between artistic choice and medical consequences, has irreversibly redefined the existence and image of these individuals. Number 10. Pixie Fox, the quest for the fantastic ideal. Pixie Fox's trajectory represents a fascinating foray into the realm of extreme body modification. Born in Sweden, she undertook a radical metamorphosis aiming to transcend biological limits to embody iconic animated characters. This life project was not limited to minor adjustments, but involved procedures of rare magnitude, notably the controversial removal of several ribs to achieve a surrealistically tiny waist. Inspired by characters like Hollywood or Jessica Rabbit, she pushes the boundaries of human anatomy by pure ideological choice. Beyond the visual aspect, her approach raises questions about the perception of the body as a malleable work of art. Despite warnings from health professionals regarding long-term physiological risks, she claims her transformations as a form of creative liberation and personal fulfillment. Her case perfectly illustrates how individual will can sometimes break free from biological norms to pursue an absolute aesthetic ideal, transforming her existence into a permanent artistic performance. This quest illustrates an iron will defying all logic. She continues to explore the limits of science to flourish. Number 9. Jessica Alves, a transition towards authenticity. Jessica Alves embodies a complex evolution, moving from a globally publicized quest for plastic perfection to a profound affirmation of her gender identity. Her journey, marked by more than 100 interventions, reflects a constant search for coherence between her outward image and her inner feeling. This total metamorphosis illustrates the passage from dysmorphia experienced under a masculine appearance to a fulfillment embraced in her feminine expression. Beyond the visual spectacle of her transformations, her testimony highlights the psychological challenges linked to self-reconstruction under the public gaze. In 2020, her official transition marked a turning point, where surgery became a tool for identity alignment rather than a simple search for formal aesthetics. Her resilience in the face of criticism and her will to live her truth openly illustrate the close relationship between advances in aesthetic medicine and the right to self-determination. Today, she remains an emblematic figure of the human capacity to totally reinvent oneself to reach a form of inner serenity. Her courage inspires many people seeking their own truth. Her radical transformation has become a strong symbol of freedom. Number 8. Juliana Oliveira, the trauma of clandestine practices. The experience of Juliana Oliveira, known under the pseudonym Guju Dopix, serves as a tragic reminder regarding the risks inherent in unregulated aesthetic procedures. A victim of injections of harmful industrial substances by unlicensed practitioners, she suffered severe facial deformities that altered her life for nearly a decade. By exposing her fight against the physical aftermath, she vigorously denounces the excesses of low-cost aesthetics and unauthorized chemical substances. Her journey is one of painful reconstruction, both physical and moral, begun thanks to the intervention of surgeons specializing in restorative medicine. By sharing her vulnerability on social networks, she transformed her trauma into an essential message of prevention, sensitizing the public to the dangers of low price and clandestine interventions. Her resilience during the long hours of corrective operations underscores the crucial importance of qualified medical supervision. Through her transparency, she reminds us that the quest for beauty must never come at the detriment of vital safety and physiological integrity. Her courageous fight remains an example for all victims. She now fights for strict regulation of injectable products. Number 7. Raji Narine Singh, From Disfigurement to Activism. Raji Narine Singh has become a global figure of resilience after surviving one of the most shocking cases of clandestine surgery in the United States. Following injections of toxic products such as cement and tire sealant, her face suffered massive structural damage, forcing her to live for years in suffering and isolation. Her participation in specialized television shows allowed her to lift the veil on the brutal realities of industrial product injections. Her reconstruction process, widely documented, illustrates not only the prowess of modern plastic surgery, but also a force of exceptional character. Instead of withdrawing from public life, she chose to use her experience to campaign for stricter legislation and to warn the transgender community of the dangers of illegal medical channels. Her journey symbolizes a transition from the status of victim to that of an ambassador for patient safety, proving that physical reconstruction is often the first step toward psychological healing and deserved social recognition. Her voice now carries the hope of global legislative change. She dedicates her life to protecting the most vulnerable today. Number 6. Lin May, The Scars of Glory. An icon of Mexican entertainment, Lin May saw her public image and career lastingly marked by the consequences of unfortunate facial injections suffered at the height of her notoriety. This dramatic turn highlights the constant pressure exerted on celebrities to maintain an appearance of eternal youth in a ruthless industry. A former star of genre cinema, she embodies today a poignant life lesson on the fragility of beauty in the face of time. Despite the irreversible alterations to her features, she has managed to preserve a strong media presence, showing remarkable tenacity in the face of external judgments. Her story is often cited in Latin American media as a solemn warning against aesthetic haste and the use of uncertified products. By assuming her history with disarming frankness, she emphasizes the need to prioritize health over vanity and reminds us that artistic resilience can survive even the most difficult physical ordeals, making her a figure of perseverance. Her dignity in the face of adversity commands public respect. The artist refuses to let herself be defined by her past errors. Number 5. Hang Myoku, The Spiral of Aesthetic Obsession. The case of Hang Myoku remains one of the most poignant in the history of body modification, illustrating the tragic drifts of a psychological addiction to surgery. A former model in South Korea, her obsession with perfection led her to desperate acts of self-injection with cooking oil after doctors refused to continue her interventions. This spiral of self-destruction highlights the vital necessity for practitioners to diagnose body dysmorphia before accepting any new surgical intervention. This trajectory highlights the imperious need for mental health care alongside surgical acts. Her life, marked by irreversible disfiguration despite numerous rescue operations, serves as a testimony to the limits of self-perception. The empathy shown by the public through donations for her care underscores the human and social dimension of her drama. Her story remains a global warning about the devastating consequences of body dysmorphia when it is not detected and treated by competent professionals. The suffering endured by this woman must alert consciences. Her tragedy underscores the vital importance of very early psychological support. Number 4. Alicia Duval, denouncing plastic addiction. Alicia Duval represents a central figure in raising awareness about the dangers of addiction to cosmetic surgery. After undergoing hundreds of procedures in a frantic search for an unattainable ideal, she courageously admitted the devastating impact of these choices on her physical health and family balance. By sharing her story with her own daughters, she hopes to break the cycle of chronic dissatisfaction and promote the natural look. Her shift towards a plea for stricter regulation of the beauty industry testifies to a profound and necessary realization. She now campaigns for psychological aspects to be systematically evaluated before any surgical act, in order to protect vulnerable patients against themselves. Her transition from a compulsive consumer of surgery to an activist for the natural look and mental health offers a critical perspective on modern beauty standards. Her journey demonstrates that true transformation often begins with self-acceptance and the recognition of internal wounds that the scalpel cannot heal. She advocates for natural beauty based on mental health. Her message of prevention touches a generation in search of authenticity. Number 3. Alicia Amira, aesthetics as a tool of control. Alicia Amira explores the frontiers of the so-called bimbo aesthetic, claiming her massive surgical transformations as a tool of autonomy and bodily reappropriation. For her, extreme physical modification is not the sign of insecurity, but a deliberate artistic choice aiming to construct a radical visual identity. She claims loud and clear her right to extreme artificiality, transforming her appearance into a true assumed digital trademark. Her discourse articulates around individual liberty and the right to define one's own body according to one's own criteria, independently of traditional societal expectations. Although her appearance sparks polarized debates, she insists on the fact that her journey is the fruit of intellectual reflection on femininity and personal branding. She embodies a contemporary trend where the body becomes a vector of sociocultural messaging and an extension of digital presence. Her approach questions the very definition of beauty and the limits of individual freedom in the realm of physical modification. This assumed choice redefines the codes of self-expression. She claims total autonomy over her brand image. Number 2. Martina Big, metamorphosis beyond structure. Martina Big made a name for herself through a bodily transformation that exceeds the usual frameworks of cosmetic surgery, touching both her silhouette and her skin pigmentation. Her decision to radically modify her appearance to change racial identity triggered global discussions on the nature of identity and the limits of medical technology. Her melanin injections and volumetric modifications create a rupture without precedent with biological norms and classic racial perceptions. Beyond media controversies, her case underscores the power of modern interventions and their capacity to alter the most fundamental human characteristics. Her approach questions the relationship between chosen appearance and cultural belonging, provoking diverse reactions ranging from support to virulent criticism. She represents an extreme example of the way in which body modification can be used to pursue a vision of self that defies conventional categories. Her story highlights the complex intersection between personal desires, medical ethics, and societal norms in an increasingly globalized world. Her atypical journey radically disrupts the frontiers of human identity. This metamorphosis pushes societal reflection toward unexplored summits. Number 1. Vanilla Chamu, the ideal of the living doll. Inspired by an idealized Western aesthetic, the Japanese woman Vanilla Chamu undertook a complex surgery program to transform her original features into those of a porcelain doll. Initially motivated by emotional wounds linked to her childhood, her metamorphosis became a life project, aiming to reach a static and symmetrical ideal of perfection. Seeking to erase every trace of her original features, she invested colossal sums to reach this dull aesthetic. Her journey illustrates the impact of global beauty standards on individual aspirations and the way in which surgery can be perceived as a tool of psychological repair. Despite critics regarding the loss of her original ethnic identity, she displays total personal satisfaction, presenting her evolution as a success in her quest for self-confidence. Her media visibility in Japan has opened debates on social pressure and beauty models imposed by the media. She remains an emblematic figure of total transformation, where the individual chooses to become their own creation. This total transformation questions the very definition of facial harmony. Her final appearance reflects an interior dream meant to become a physical reality. Number 11. Moment for the unexpected case. Born with a naturally harmonious face, this woman doubted her beauty little by little. Seeking perfection, she multiplied cosmetic surgeries. Unfortunately, these successive transformations ended up altering her features. The before/after photos shocked the internet, reminding everyone how much dissatisfaction can lead to losing the essential. Conclusion. These stories highlight the complexity of human motivations behind cosmetic surgery. Whether it is a quest for identity or reconstruction, each transformation leaves an indelible mark, reminding us that appearance remains inseparable from the psychological and ethical balance of the individual. It becomes imperative for modern society to question the ethical limits of these practices in the face of individual desires for transformation. The balance between desire and reason remains the challenge of the future. Each individual must remain vigilant against the sirens of the scalpel.